Hello everybody, welcome to my show, Rock-Midrock Crisis. Today's band's going to take some explaining. Called Os Mutantes, Brazilian psychedelic rockers, part of the Tropicalia movement of the 60s when Brazil was a dictatorship. After many lineup changes, the group has solidified and have been at it since 2006. Formed in Sao Paulo in '66 by two brothers, Arnaldo and Serge Baptista, and lead singer Rita Lee. Originally called Six-Sided Rockers, they were musicians and luthiers. They built their instruments. The Mutantes name was chosen before appearing on television. Gilberto Gil was another musician in the Tropicalia movement. He brought the Mutantes into the faction, and this movement involved music, but also film, theater, and poetry. Brazil was portrayed as a tropical paradise. The movement began in Salvador, but moved to Sao Paulo. The album Tropicalia We Panis Se Circenes, which means bread and circuses, would become their main manifesto. Brazil's government far left in the 60s, verging on communism. The Trops rejected both left-wing politics and the military's conservative patriotism. I knew there was conservative left-wing people, but live and learn. The movement was ended in '68, but artists nationally and internationally continue the work. In the 60s, Os Mutantes were threatened by the military government. Radical students were not on their side either, and their music was booed to a near riot level. The band's outlandish costumes, sexuality, and African roots were why the students protested. I don't get it. Sounds alright to me. I like all those things. 5 albums went out in the 70s. The album Oacaz was Prague, but it had to wait 30 years to be released, supposedly because it was too trippy. In fact, one of the band members did take acid and jumped off a roof, causing a 6-week coma. Sergio Diaz, the only original member, left and led the band until 1978 when they split up. But the band reformed in 2006 with tours in the US. The reunion was sponsored by Choca Bahama, and it's a beer company. Karina Zeviani was now the lead singer live, but Bia Mendes replaced her. In 2013, Full Metal Jacket album with mostly English lyrics, Os Mutantes combines Beatles, Hendrix, Sly Stone with bossa nova and samba modernism, and is still recognized as a cultural, if not a political force. Kurt Cobain, had been a fan of Os Mutantes. Also Beck, also the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the Talking Heads. Here's the albums. In '68, Os Mutantes. '69, Mutantes. '70, A Divine Comedy, In '71, Jardim Electrico. '77, Mutantes, Asue Cometas. In '74, Tudo Foi Feito pelo Sol. '92, O Acaz. In 2000, Technicolor. '09, Haya or Amortecedor. in 2013, Full Metal Jacket. Now, there's one big reason why Brazilian music is so compelling. It's its historical mix. You got Incas in there, Africans, Europeans, and a wide variety of native Brazilians as a melting pot. It's a huge count, equal in square miles. What I meant to say, it's a huge country. Brazil is a huge country in terms of square miles, with the world's largest rainforest and river and 2,000 miles of Atlantic coastline. Think of Carnival in Rio de Janeiro. This is Os Mutantes' background, and they were called the South American Beatles, but they had more in common with Pink Floyd and Syd Barrett. When the band fell apart in the 70s, the government in Brazil was a right-wing dictatorship. So, here were free love, intoxicated hippies in open rebellion to an anti-communist country ruled by military hardliners. After a coup d'etat in '64, the media was censored and dissidents tortured, all with the United States blessing Nixon. So, what do? You make art. It is the freedom flag of the oppressed. Os Mutantes were shut down and hadn't been heard outside their region, but in the 1990s, American rock stars such as Beck and Kurt Cobain and even David Byrne were regularly name-dropping and asking for a reformation. In 2006, they did so, but Lee was not available, as he was, unfortunately, the Syd Barrett casualty of the band. Back in the 60s, at that point, they had no idea how to reproduce the trippy effects they heard on English and American albums, such as background guitar loops in Lennon's Tomorrow Never Knows. So they invented their own effects. And they also dressed as outrageously as they could at shows as pirates or conquistadors or even aliens. Think of it. Think of E.T. banging a bossa nova beat out of a baritone uke. It's an odd thing to think about. Would you buy a ticket to that? Yes, I think I would. And now add Carnival and a few unknown colors, and you've got a cauldron of humorously intoxicating flower power on steroids. Let's go. Thanks for being with me on my show. I do like to investigate bands I've never heard of, just for this reason. So interesting, the world of music. I sure do appreciate all of you who have tuned in, and I hope more of you will find out about my show. How to Save Rock on Mid-Rock Crisis. Take excellent care.